Briny whiny. Got it?
Sure.
Go.
1 second.
You do this stuff, I didn't redo this.
Or is that
And since he has,
yeah.
I'll talk to you about it later.
Yeah, I think you can go ahead.
All right, good. Let's call our meeting to order. We've got a roll call because our faithful executive secretary there
We got it.
has got it.
Everybody's here but Darren. 1, 2,
So-
3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah.
Everybody either has a paper copy or has reviewed the agenda online. Can I have a move to approve the agenda as written, or do we need to change anything, or? A motion? A motion? We got a motion, do I hear a second?
Who was it, Lerner?
Yeah. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Okay. All in favor of approving, now this is the agenda, not the minutes. All in favor of approving the agenda?
Aye.
Fantastic, okay. Minutes, do take a little longer to review. I went over them and, it was an interesting meeting, partly because of the optimists, guys. And I didn't see anything left out that stood out to me. Anybody else have any comments on the minutes? Can I hear a motion to approve the minutes then?
Oh, I had made a motion.
Hmm?
Sure, I motioned.
Okay. Can I hear a second?
I second it.
Good. And can I have a vote then? All in favor of approving the minutes as written? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. So, we have a member of the public here. So first of all, for those of you that weren't here, when Stu told us that Mr. O'Brien is not gonna be here, so we'll get to meet him maybe next time, or whatever. But Tamson Ross, over here, has something that he wants to.
Can you spell it for me?
Tamson and then ROSS.
Thank you.
So Tamson, go on ahead.
All right. Yeah, I just Sean had mentioned to me that at a previous meeting, someone at your council had brought up just throwing the idea out there about a project at Riverside, possibly doing. Other towns have done wave parks, in big park areas, and he brought it up, and I said, yeah, I'd love to come to the meeting and discuss it, because I'm an avid kayaker, and I also do some surfing, but I just know from personal experience, these kind of wave parks do provide a lot of great tourism to areas. There's lots of kayakers driving back and forth on 84 constantly. Most of the whitewater boaters live in the Columbia Gorge, but they go to Idaho. That's where all the best water is. So you probably see a lot of people driving with kayaks on their cars. And there's also just a growing population of people locally. Every year we add more people to our local kayak group thread, and we're always trying to get out and just play in the water.
Can you describe it to me?
So, I don't know if you've seen any of these water parks before. They're basically they a lot of times do some engineering to put in some concrete and walls and maybe control the river levels a little bit, but usually it's just they'll channel the river into a little slot, have a wave feature, and a lot of them Boise one, they have a couple of good wave features, but they change the water levels depending on the week for surfers. So there's a lot of like inland surfers that use them, and quite a lot of people that travel from town here to go to the coast to go surfing. So I think even locally it'd get used. If that was an option, and then also they change the waves better for kayakers. So, and then there's also I did the ones in Colorado that were just static waves, and so they just changed as the water levels got higher or lower.
It's in the river.
It's in the river, so like what I've always wanted and thought would be great is if there was some kind of, I thought surely there's some kind of grants for like hazardous waterways or something, I don't know, because I grew up swimming at Riverside Park and floating on inner tubes and getting stuck on the rocks and rebar, and I just felt like it's just a huge eyesore for one. Hey, I got it. And
Just 'cause of the cords.
the thing is, it is the most used swim spot in town, so I feel like it could be a 2-for-1. It's like maybe a Riverside cleanup project, make the swimming hole nice, less concrete blocks and foot entrapment hazards for the swimmers there, and then also provide some sort of recreation wave. The Bend one has like a little track, just a little bit of water running down for people to do inner tubes, and so that's very popular. I mean, anyone can really get on there, and the worst that happens, they might get scraped up. I do realize it's like creating water features is also liability and hazard, but at this point, I look at the rapid and it's more of a hazard right now, I think, for swimmers and people trying to float through.
Would there be any problem with fish?
Could be. Like I told Timpson, it's gonna be a
Yeah.
long-term project if we choose to move forward. It's not in the master plan, so we'd have to have some sort of a, he's connected to a lot of kayakers and river users, and it would be just like Pump Track. You'd get organized and sort of come with a proposal, do some research on your own, through, Corps of Engineers, Grand Round Model Watershed, a variety of other probably permitting agencies, maybe. And then I think that, if you guys support him moving forward with at least some behind the scenes planning, I think that's probably the next step, is to kind of contact some of your river users and kind of get a little bit organized. If they say go for it, then you can maybe do some of that research or whatever kind of they ask you to do.
Okay.
For now, it
Yeah.
wouldn't be on the staff's radar because it's not in the master plan, but
So
just like
Tim,
they do with Pump Track.
do you sort of get this master plan, he's used that word a couple of times now, that we sort of went through a big survey process and really identified in very concise language what the goals of the community supported were.
Right.
And we've been really storming ahead on achieving the goals that the community identified for us.
Yeah.
And we are coming up on the sort of the pre-planning, I would
Yeah.
say, for our next master planning. And nobody would disagree with the idea that our river corridor is an underutilized resource in every way. There's no city that I can think of that has this asset that doesn't use it in one form or another. It's
Absolutely.
great, it's insane,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of politics there. Island City has not gotten on board, and property owners have thrown the spanner in the works on the trail already.
Right. Yeah.
So, what I would suggest is, just like Stu says, start getting some. Go ahead, John.
Well, I would suggest like contacting Ben or voicing, saying what did you have to go through to,
Absolutely. Yeah.
just do that background work.
Just get an idea. Yeah.
And then,
And I would suggest that a great place to start is just going to be removing the artificial debris that's up right near the bridge.
Yeah.
I think that I think it might be DEQ that has to put the stamp of approval on anything to do with waterways, and I can't see where they would say, well, no. And in that process, you may be able to generate something that's kind of, well, that works.
So that's a. Thank you for saying that. That's a good point to make too. Just
Yeah.
kind of start, maybe smaller with that idea, and
Yeah.
because I agree. If anything, I'd just like it to be a better spot to swim.
Yeah.
But ultimately, long term, I think it would really benefit the community, and
Absolutely.
I definitely have friends that I have a friend that writes grants for a living, and some other friends that worked with other similar projects that I'm definitely gonna contact, and I'm like, I have some free time. This is my free time, so it's not always the best. It's
Well-
hard to get stuff done.
So, when we get into starting the new master plan, why don't you'll hear about it. I'll get in touch with you.
Okay.
And
The other issue is that you all need to know about, there's the water line that feeds Riverside Park is in the river, right? So that's Public Works water line. So they have plans to bore it under the river, but that's I'm not sure where they're planning, what the timeline is of that.
and that's the one going out to the fairgrounds.
No, it just comes straight over to Riverside Park, and then it feeds, I think, 2 other properties
Okay.
with city water. So that's really the very first step, is to figure out what the timing is with that, when they're gonna bore it, and then that will free up the river for kind of the rest of your research, etc. But for now, that's gonna be a deal breaker, until that gets bored, I would think, under
Okay.
the river.
Yeah.
It's just I'm not an engineer, but
But if you
that would be my
covered the
guess.
line and created a
Yeah, well,
wave
weir.
feature,
Yeah.
probably not. They do have to work on the water lines, you wouldn't wanna make an
Right.
investment in them.
Above the
Yeah.
bridge, buried in the river bottom, is a system that extracts water that takes the place of the old waterway that went down to Fruitdale. Okay, and they have a way of flooding underground that property using that water system. That's what that green building is, uphill in the bridge. Okay? And that's why they tell you, if you're gonna build in Fruitvale, don't build a basement.
Interesting.
Very
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
I think what he needs from you all though is
Yeah.
just maybe some
Yeah.
encouragement, like you said, to engage in the master plan process when it happens, or like you said, John, some preliminary research from him.
And I'd be real interested
Absolutely.
to know what Boise does. Because, the Deschutes is 5,000 CFS constant. So you have this static level of water, where the Grand Run River is a dynamic level of water. So you could put a structure in there that at a particular flow would create a wave that you could play on. But it's not gonna be the same as the Deschutes Water Park. And they
Yes.
also have a park, they have their own funding.
District.
And one
Right.
thing might be
That's
the
the word.
seasonal thing.
Right, and that's where I thought, just based on these reasons, it being seasonal, like you're bringing up, more of a static wave park or something, or even a single wave would be a better idea to pitch, as far as it's going to cost less. If there was something where it's a little bit channeled, it might just create a very small wave that in the summer kids could go through an inner tube, and it would, we know it's 150 CFS in the summer. It'd be a little wave that big, and something like that. But on higher flows, it would create much more of a better kayaking wave, better recirculating in the hole. And I do think that would make the most sense, given that it is seasonal. It's the investment of having a dynamic wave doesn't really make sense when we're not we can't predict what the water levels are going to be consistently.
So Tamsin, I think that, you can have a consensus here. We can't really vote on this. It's not an agenda item
Yeah,
and so on, but I
absolutely.
think we can give you a consensus,
Yeah.
support of the commission.
Great.
In the project, and when the time comes, you're gonna need boots on the ground names and possible grant channels and
Yeah.
maybe some preliminary engineering ideas as we go into our master plan.
Yeah.
But come back to us.
Definitely.
All right, let's
Will
move
do.
on.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, Spencer.
How about old business, the bike park? You're the man.
See you, Tim. Bike park. We are waiting on Anderson Perry to get us some preliminary cost estimates for fixing the parking over by the baseball fields. That's where it's at.
Okay.
We should be getting $100,000 grant from Travel Oregon in 4 days, but
And that's promised money for 2026?
yeah, it has to be spent by I think December 2026.
Did you already submit the grant?
Yep, grant submitted. We were supposed to hear tomorrow, but they pushed it back to next week. So
Okay. So that's a pretty hard deadline, isn't it?
yeah, but that money could
That's
potentially,
design and
yeah, we can easily spend that without having to necessarily start building, especially if we'll see what the parking costs.
December 26th, you said?
I think December 2026.
Thank you.
can that 100,000 be used for land acquisition?
Potentially, yeah.
Like
Like, it
carving off a
can kind
little
of be
bit of-
used for anything.
Okay.
Like we had to submit a budget with the grant, but we just submitted one with the plan to change it once we figured out the
Yeah.
actual costs.
I think that's realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, AP's making it sound like the parking's gonna be expensive, so
Okay.
we'll see.
And they're interacting with the city on the ideas for the parking. Boquist, or-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we met with Anderson Perry on site, just lined up from here to here and from here to here kind of thing. Yeah, there's just stormwater engineering and retaining wall engineering. Those are the kind of
And
concerns.
maybe burying power lines was the
Oh,
other thing
power
we weren't
lines
sure
are
about.
could maybe be in the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spendy.
Okay, if there's no more old business, let's move on to the next agenda item. And we've got,
Let's flip this on its head if you don't mind. We'll go backwards from.
is Chris
E-
gonna be here in a
He'll
while?
be a little bit late. Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll give him a chance to arrive. If he doesn't, Mark's prepared.
Sure,
But let's start at E and work backwards.
that sounds just fine. So this is a big deal. Let's, have you, introduce the request from the school district.
Sure. Yeah, so the school contract, the teacher's contract is up maybe the end of the school year, I think. So they're starting to think about negotiating the 4-day school week again. So there's been a lot of, there was a lot of push for that 3 years ago when they negotiated contracts. And ultimately they did the 170-day, 5-day schedule, normal schedule. So this time, the union has come back and said, we'd like to explore 4-day school weeks again. The superintendent has said, no, we're not gonna do 4-day school weeks. We can, but we have to have the same amount of teacher contact days, student-teacher contact days. So to do that, there's about 3 or 4 calendars they're proposing and talking about. I'm not sure they've been proposed, but they've talked about them. One's a hybrid calendar, which is a extended calendar with a 4-day school week, which would maybe school would start at the beginning of August and end the end of June kind of thing. One would be the normal schedule we have now. One could be a 165-day schedule with a few Fridays off, but the school day would be extended. And one would be a 160-day schedule with the school day extended more. So there's kind of some hybrids happening in the discussions. And the school district ultimately called us to ask if we could offer childcare or services on those Fridays where there were no school. And if we think we could do that, if it was feasible, if we had any concerns. So we had a really good conversation with the superintendent about staffing challenges. It's it'd be really a challenge for us to have our staffing so sporadic. I think they're used to working after school, maybe 3 to 5. Most of those folks are college students, so to have a Friday off could be a challenge for us to staff it. I think another challenge would be transportation. You know, it would likely be here in the pool classroom, which is great space for that, but it creates barriers, you know, for some families to get there. If we wanted to eliminate those barriers, maybe we would have it at those neighborhood schools, but then staffing exponentiates, right? So if that's a word, you would know. But anyway, the reality is it's a challenge, right? So I just thought it was something to bring to this group to, one, get your opinion on if we should, you know, if your desire is, look, staff, you need to go all in on this and provide services to the most you can do, or if your guidance would be more so, okay, it's going to be a challenge, and let's do the best we can do, which is kind of what staff said to the superintendent. So I just wanted to kind of get your feedback on that.
I got 2 questions right off the bat. One is, does Mendoza have any idea at all about what kind of numbers he's talking about of kids needing a service and their distribution, their ages? High
No.
school kids,
Not really.
nothing.
No, not yet.
Okay.
It's really early on, you know, I'm not sure these calendars are fully public yet, but it is an emerging issue for us, so we need to plan for it.
So the second question is money. Is there any inkling that they would be willing to do some cost sharing? Misty?
We talked a little bit about that. It's an unknown. There could be some creative partnerships with some of the school para educators that, you know,
So-
could potentially work, but the school day being extended is going to eliminate any availability for them because their contracted hours are going to be the same or more with these other calendar options.
So, my wife and I have been talking about this, the 3 days of conferences, and that if, just like and in-service days on Fridays, if the staff, if parks could do something those days,
Uh-huh.
you might pilot test it this year and just see the numbers to help understand what's gonna happen, you know. But, yeah, if the paras could work for parks during those days and not, it wouldn't be any part of their school contract.
Right.
You're just offering
Right.
them.
They would have a separate employer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Parks.
Yeah, and
So that's a potential,
right.
you know, and then it would be, you know,
It's
at
not
the school.
budgeted yet, but that could be a
Yeah.
future thing.
And then, but if you're charging, you know, what, $40 a day, I don't know,
What is it right now? Is it $4 or $5 an hour ish? Is that what we charge?
so yeah, $40 a day.
Is it 15, 60, 40 bucks? What is it? 40 bucks?
It's cheaper for
It's either 40 or 40.
my family rather than me taking days off for work.
Yeah.
So, we've thought that.
Uh-huh.
But anything to do with 4-day work week, I say we don't try to support that at all.
It's hard.
Yeah, just,
And the data is very clear that learning loss is real.
yeah,
We don't have those contact
Yeah.
hours.
and
And
it,
that's why he's not gonna sponsor it. He's gonna say, you gotta have more hours than during the day, cause you have to have those hours for kids to learn.
The school, just for my information, the school districts that do have 4-day, like Heppner and I think,
every
Everywhere
district,
else in the
do
valley,
they
right?
increase the
everywhere
hours
else
per
in
day?
eastern Oregon, except
Yeah.
Grand and maybe one other.
Pendleton.
And
So-
they run a full 8-hour school day then. They get the hours back by lengthening the school day.
Yeah. Is Baker still doing it?
Yeah,
Okay.
because they ski on Fridays.
Okay.
The one answer that he shared was that we are a non-rural school district. And people might think of LeGrand as a rural area, but it's not. It's a full-service community. And so it's non-rural, just like Pendleton is non-rural, and Ontario is non-rural, and Hermiston, right? So when you compare non-rural school districts, you can't compare them to rural school districts because the needs are different of those kiddos and families, is how he explained it. They have agricultural needs, they have other things they use on Fridays to do extended learning or different things. So it's a really non-argument, because that's what the teachers like to say. Everybody else does it, why don't we do it? It's apples and oranges.
And they're free to go work in those school districts, in my opinion.
That's fair.
And
So-
they do.
And they do.
They do.
So
So John's suggesting maybe we try a few of these non-school days this year and see how that works. Does anybody have feedback?
So we would have to publicize that, and we'd have to do program development, which is staff time.
Mostly it's staffing that I don't know that we can pull off, because
Yeah.
we just have college students that are,
you'd really have to tap into the pairs, I think.
Man, give those methamphetamine users something to do. Sorry.
you mean for staffing? No, we don't. That's okay. But you're an educator, retired, what's your feedback?
It's a very, very diverse population, because you're gonna have early childhood up to, what are you gonna say, 12 to 13-year-old children. So the people that you're gonna have to staff, there's a unique training. I don't wanna shoot it down, but I don't see how we can make it happen. This is brand new, and we haven't started the hard work that it takes. We're doing full-day kindergarten, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I said early childhood.
Yeah, and our after-school program is more of the kindergarten through probably 3rd grade.
Yeah,
So we don't get a lot of the
at some
4th
age,
and 5th grade,
you
so
can
the
be-
12, 13-year-olds.
latchkey,
By middle school.
Yeah, I think.
definitely, but where the law weighs in, I'm not sure.
Yes, Chris.
Steve, do you?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
So, one thing is that I think Mendoza needs to do a little bit of homework, and
He has.
he could
Yeah.
do some kind of survey.
Yeah.
If
They're just not there yet. This is very preliminary.
Yeah.
Chris and I went to the meeting just with him, and he's just asking, can you do it? And our answer is maybe. It's going to be really hard.
it's going to be a challenge, it might be a great thing. It could be really great, but
Right.
it's going to be a real challenge.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, just wanted to get a little feedback if you had any other ideas. Sorry, Kate, if you want to speak up, just go for it. We can hear you. So.
Yeah, I don't have much of an opinion on this. I can see pros and cons to either way, so.
Okay, thank you.
All right, if there's no more discussion on this, it's a real wide open topic. I want to have plenty of time to talk about it. We're sort of working our way, Chris, backwards through our agenda here. So there's the potential for putting in 2 one-stall bathrooms at Candy Cane and Benton. Stu, why don't you
We're just going from
inform us
EA.
about that?
Sure. So the park system has system development charges. We're the only SDCs in LaGrange. So what's an SDC, right? System development charges are charged to new developers when they build a house to help mitigate the impact of the services offered. Usually cities charge SDCs for water, sewer, transportation, parks, there might be one more. LaGrande, in its ordinances, only have parks. So we have money for added capacity in parks. So it can't be used to replace a playground or a trail. It can be used to basically replace things, but it can be used for added capacity. So it can be used to match funding grant funding. So since in the master plan, bathrooms are requested at two parks, at Benton Park and Candy Cane Park. Those were identified in the master plan. So there's something called the Land and Water Conservation Fund. This is state park funding that comes from the feds, and it's a 50-50 match. So my idea was to take those STCs and put them up to match that grant funding source, which opens in November. So I wanted to get your first initial take on that first here today, and then once we get to probably next month or November, depending on timeline, I'll ask you to write a letter of support. We'll take it to council and have them have a resolution that supports the grant application and move forward with those to potentially be funded next early summer.
And we would then have, did you say it was single door or it's gonna be double door?
I said single stall because of the demand on those parks specifically.
Okay, and then they would be, help me with either locked or open time period.
Yeah, so these are on timers. They lock at 10 p.m.
Okay,
and there's a panic button if you get locked in, but they're magnetic locks, so it'd be the same.
and months, what time, what duration are they shut down?
Usually around Halloween through about spring break, they're closed.
Okay,
So these would be probably those restrooms, those prefabricated buildings. They come, then drop them on site. We would plumb them, so they'd be water, flush toilets, of course, and sinks, like Bernie Park is. That's a manufactured building, but it has the plumbing
Yeah.
to it. So, anyway, I'm not sure how expensive these are gonna be, but we have, I don't remember how much we have in SDCs, but we have a substantial amount of money in the bank we can use for match funding. It's a 50-50 match, so
Do you have more than 150,000 in
I think so.
SBC?
I think so. I have to go look, but
I think it'd be great.
it's, there are two master plan items we can tick off the list. It doesn't, the other concern I have is maintenance and cleaning. It's just added to the, I don't have extra staff. Two more bathrooms is substantial,
Yep.
on staff drain. So at some point, we're gonna have to have that conversation, but anyway. Initial thoughts or questions?
It seems like a no-brainer to me, but
Thumbs
Yeah,
up.
more
Yeah.
bathrooms seems good.
Thumbs up.
Yep. It's
Yeah.
also the number one priority in that funding stream is park
Yeah.
bathrooms, so. it's
So sure,
no-brainer.
yeah. Those
Okay.
parks are used.
But that SDC money could be used to expand a park.
Could
You
it
can.
be used to turn the water fountains back on at our parks?
No.
But we were, in the minutes, we were gonna look to CHD on that.
Right, they are out of money, I did look to them, they don't have that same funding stream this year. That money ran out in June 30. So, there might be more in the future, but not right now.
so
But we are gonna put a concerted effort to get the fountains turned on next spring, so it'll be a general fund thing.
Is it a replumbing issue or
Some of them, not all of them,
frozen, blown out, or?
only on some of them.
So I have a question then. This SDC funding, could it possibly be in demand for the splash pad?
No, because it's a remodel. If there was no splash pad, and we had nothing existing, yes. But since we have one, and.
We have one at the pool here.
Right, so, in the plan is to remodel that splash pad, demo it and redo it, we can't use this money for that.
If we were to put a new one at Candy Cane, we could.
Could it be used for expanding
I thought
parking?
you were gonna say, could it be used for a drinking fountain?
No.
The splash pad?
Parking. Could the SDC money be used for expanding parking for like an existing park?
Maybe, it'd be cleaner if it would be used for the bike park itself, I think.
Could it be used for a new splash pad at Riverside Park?
It could,
Ooh.
but it's, Riverside's not feasible because of the water line issue we
Use
just
the
talked
water,
about.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
The problem with the splash pad location is that there's just all the parks are fully built out, and Riverside's probably the only one that could use one, but there's no capacity, so we're not stuck with this location, but this location makes the most sense.
But
Otherwise,
it's
you're gonna see
cheaper
where it's
because
off the
you're
field.
using the plumbing from,
Yeah,
We already have a
we
drain.
already have the plumbing.
yeah.
Yeah, we already have the connections.
Okay. All right.
Is there sort of consensus on the bathrooms being a reasonably good idea, and good use of that funds?
We'll make it official probably next month or the month after, and I'll have you do an official letter of support, and then we'll have council approve the grant application.
All right, and the shade canopies are, we've discussed a number of times, CHD had that money kind of left over and certainly a good use. At both those same two parks, they'll be significantly upgraded if you think about it. And they're fabric shade structures with the fabric being removable in the fall and replaceable at max.
Yeah.
So they're here, they're outside, if you wanna go look at them, you gotta open the box, but, they're here. So they're gonna go in the ground, in the next few weeks by contractor.
Okay.
Cool.
Is the vendor the contractor, or we use our own guys?
We have a local contractor that's gonna do it.
Okay. All right, Mark, you want to talk to us
Thanks
about
for
the,
giving me a break. This is just the maintenance closure piece, not the summer
Not the-
stuff.
this is not staff
Item B.
report.
Okay,
Just talk about this
I had
weekend.
that in there too. So obviously we're in maintenance closure. They started on Monday. Started with tile removal. The tile was not coming up as easy as they hoped, unfortunately, but they did complete the tile removal basically this morning, and then they completed the grinding of all the grout this afternoon. So,
A lot of dust.
oh my God,
So
it's
it's all,
terrible.
it's all flush now?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's flush, but it's a lip because the existing concrete was, built up, so. But, they didn't power wash tonight, they were sweeping and vacuuming all afternoon, that's where they finished, so they'll come back in the morning and they'll power wash, and then they'll start applying the first layer of product, which is like a base coat that will build up any of the crevices, any of that kind of stuff. And then when I talked to the head guy, he said by the time they get all the way around, the first stuff will be ready to second coat if they need to, or to move on to the second product, which is the non-slip surface. So, and then same thing, once they get around with that, it'll be ready to start again if they need to do a second coat, or if they're good to move on to the third coat, which is a top coat, clear coat.
Okay. Interior of the pool is what I'm seeing you talk about. Not the deck.
The deck around the pool.
The apron,
So,
yeah.
yeah, every place there was tile.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now,
we could probably pull up Facebook and show it.
what about the pool itself? The interior?
No, nothing's happening with the interior of the pool.
Okay.
We're doing cleaning, and if there's any repairs we need to make, we'll make those, but, cause we've got them drained,
Mm-hmm.
which
Okay.
was a task in itself.
I'm just trying to do the gestalt.
Yeah, I literally had gas pump running,
This part right here, right?
all week.
Okay.
So, sorry Kate, you probably can't see this, but just gonna pause that right there. So
Yeah.
this is the interior 2-ish feet.
Yes.
There's a concrete lip right here,
4 feet.
and then, this goes all the way around, plus by the front, it goes into the locker room a little bit.
Okay. So what keeps it from being slippery?
The new product,
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the finish is in it, whether it's a sand or something, but there's some sort of a non-slip surface
Okay.
that will be applied.
Are they gonna put seams into it and stuff like that, or?
Yeah, the seams are basically match where the existing concrete seams are, so they went around today and ground out those seams to prepare them.
And water's gonna have a way to run out of those seams because
Those are
there's just such a
sloped-
drippy, wet environment?
Those are sloped back towards the channel drains,
Got it,
so yes.
got it. Okay.
Yeah, so probably couldn't see the channel drain in there, but it's,
Really.
so where the concrete, where they stripped out, there was like 1.5 foot of concrete, and then there's channel drain, and then
Yeah.
15 feet of concrete up to the wall, so.
Yeah.
I got a question. What's the user lifespan expected on that new product you're talking about?
I wanna say it was 10 years, of heavy use, and I wouldn't consider our pool heavy use. I would consider it probably medium use. And then we did chat about they could do the rest of the concrete so that it all matched, in a future thing, so,
And these things can be abraded and re-top coated,
yeah,
so that's a potential savings.
yeah. So, it should be good. I mean, we're pretty excited.
Well, the tiles were broken,
Oh,
the
yeah,
grout
the
was
tiles.
really dirty, they're slippery, all kinds of complaints.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this will, in theory, we should eliminate having to have any mats out on the pool deck. Because those are, even though the mats are there to keep people from slipping and falling, they're also a tripping hazard because people don't lift their feet and catch their toes. And so this will be nice to have just one smooth, flat surface. So, but it's going well. It's just been a little bit, like Stu and I were talking today, we feel like we're just kind of a day behind. It seems like there's, everything just kind of prolonged.
Given the size of the job, day behind's not bad.
Yeah. But yeah, we started draining the pools Sunday. I had a small group of lifeguards come in and we pulled everything off the deck, pulled the ladders, basically cleared the space. And then Monday morning, Justin, which is a shared guy between me and Parks, we came in, took the bottom half of the slide and the bottom half of the stairs off the slide so that was out of the way. And then removed all the starting blocks and everything. So yeah, it's was wide open, ready for them when they started.
That's
so.
the way to do it.
But the pools have been slow to drain. I've had gas pumps running basically all week until late this morning. I finally had enough water out of both of them that wouldn't suck anymore. So, but that was interesting because usually I was told, Chloe told me that normally the small pool just drains and
Gravity drains.
it went to a point and stopped. So it was like not really sure
You
why.
got a big plunger?
Yeah.
Have you scoped those drains?
No,
Might be worth doing while you're in there.
might be, yeah. Yeah, there might be something built up in there, so. And then, while this has been happening, Justin and I, so there's 2 tunnels that run along the sides of the pool, in the basement, and, there was some concrete cores about 16 by 16 that are really in the way. There was 2 on each side, and so I wanted to get rid of those because they're just in the way for us getting to equipment. And so I had him start jackhammering on those, and then while we were in there, went ahead and took out a ton of abandoned pipes that were just left when they converted over to PVC pipe. So both sides, probably 3/4 of the way down the lap pool, are completely clear now and just a treat to walk in. Because if you're having to wiggle in and out between stuff trying to get back to different pieces of equipment, so it's nice. It'll be good for us in the long run.
Okay, well, good. Thanks for the report. And now, I think that this is gonna be, the major time consumer for our meeting is, why don't Chris, you start, he can get his voice back. And, we wanna,
Let me just do the intro if you would, just because the reason I wanted to put this on the agenda is the magnitude of things these guys do in the summer is unreal. So I just want to say how proud I am of them and my whole team. We did a lot this summer. So I told them, let's dive a little deeper. Other than we had 200 kids play football. That's
Yeah.
great. But there's more, right?
Yeah.
So I challenged them to give you guys a little just more detail. So sorry, go
I mean, I left out of here all the work done over at Riverside because to me that wasn't quite summer yet. So
ahead.
summer to me kicks off with our annual Touch a Truck event, which is our 3rd year doing. One of my favorite events because it's easy, it's free, and it's for the public. And having a 2.5-year-old son myself, like just the joy they have getting in a police car or on a fire truck and stuff like that is really cool. There's a lot of legwork behind the scenes leading up to it. The permits, working with Chief Bell and ODOT to get the permits to close the road, getting all the vehicles there. We have lots of people that say, oh yeah, and then drop out, and so that's kind of stressful, making sure people know where to park, and then working with Kyle at Public Works to get all the barricades and things like that. But once you set everything up, it's the easiest. This year, there's a funny moment where I have all the barricades set up, and it's going, and I have a gal trying to drive and get onto Adams, and I said, and she's literally turning past a barricade. I have 2 of them set up, and I was like, whoa, the road's closed. She's like, what do you mean? I was like, and she's turning into a section where there's like a fire truck parked in the middle of the road, a cement truck parked in the middle of, like, things are parked in the middle of the road. And I was like, there's an event, the road's closed. And so like, those signs don't say it's closed, pointing to the 2 barricades she's trying to drive past. I was like, I don't think they need to say it's closed. I think it's pretty obvious that the road's closed. So finally I convinced her to back up and turn around, and then I had a van doing the same thing. He was trying to make a delivery to Red Cross, and he was trying to cross the road. I was like, no, you gotta go around to the backside. What do you mean? The road's closed, you gotta go all the way around. I'm not from here, I was like, see across the street, back up, go down literally 2 blocks, go across, and then you'll be to the back of it. And he was like, okay. So,
This officer will take you.
yeah. So,
Or you could walk.
eventually I made a run back to Public Works and grabbed more signs, so that way people understood that things were closed. But other than that, that event's my favorite. People at the event always come up and say how much they love it and how much they enjoy it, and we get lots of good pictures, and it's a good time. That's a great kickoff to summer because it's such an easy event. And then a lot of work happens. I do a lot of, with our summer camps, we do 9 weeks of summer camps, and usually, I have already I do like phases, so I plan out the weeks we're gonna run summer camps, like in the spring, so I can post it. Then I make generalized themes, so that way there's an idea when people are registering for them, like, oh, this is gonna be this camp, and stuff like that. And then I make the activities week by week, usually a week ahead of time, so I try to stay a week ahead of everything and get all the materials and all the things like that. So every week it's sitting down on a spreadsheet. Okay, Monday they're doing this from this time to this time. Tuesday they're doing this time. Okay, what materials do we need? Okay, do we have that? No. Okay, I gotta go buy that. Let's go buy this. Let's go buy that. And then thankfully I had a lot of staff this summer that worked last summer, and then I had a lot of people that work other things for me that decided to stay this summer. So I had 12 staff members. One of them left early, and then one of them left a little later, but ultimately 12 for the summer was really good, and I didn't have to worry about anything. It's always surprising because I try to trickle in new camps. So this year we did Lego camp, and you brought some Legos, and I was like, I don't know if kids are gonna like this. I don't know how big Legos are these days anymore. And that was probably one of the more well-attended camps, as well as one of the most popular. And to the point where I went to put the Legos away, and my staff went, can you just leave them in here? Because they really like playing with these. So like, it seemed like every camp after that, they were playing with Legos at least once a day, because they just liked it so much. So that's always fun. And then we do our specialty camps. Our rock climbing up at UOU is always really popular. One that's my favorite is Animal Adventure, because it's one where they get a little more interaction within the camp. They always go out to Foothill Ranch, and it's a baby doll sheep farm, and they also do other things, but they get to play with like baby doll sheep and ride in a wagon and they do a craft. I think this year they made like cookies, and so that was always fun. They also then explored a new place, Somerville Stables, out on Hunter Road, which I always see because my in-laws live right across the street from it, and we went out there for a pumpkin patch this last October, and I was like, wow, there's a lot of cool stuff out here. And so I reached out to the owner, and she's like, oh yeah, bring them out, like let's. And they had a blast, like playing with the horses, the mini ponies. They have some pigs, and they have like the train that they'll pull behind like an ATV and stuff. So those specialty camps are really fun, mainly because it's a little different. Smaller group of kids. They get to go places. They're not just stuck down here.
Small group of kids is what, 10 or 12 or?
12.
Yeah.
With our new van, it's 14. But we try to keep it to like 12, 13 because, you know, only certain ages can sit in the actual front seat. So I think the most we had was 9 sign up for one camp. But it's more of that adventure. They get to go do something and explore and see something new and learn something about the valley. But yeah, those camps went really well, and all that staff, and so all the planning and all the things went really well. Something that didn't go as easy as it normally goes this year was our summer concerts in the park. Usually that one's the easiest because it's, yeah, here's the band, here's the check, and I give a staff member money. I go, you gotta just sit here and listen to music and help them load up and give them their money, and they leave. And literally the very second concert of the season, I was in Seattle, and I get a phone call. Yeah, there's a pavilion rental. Because we do our concerts, we've been doing them outside the pavilion on the west side, like where the chimney is. Kind of in that like shadowed area, and it's nice and shaded, and people have really liked it there. And the hard part is when I plan the concerts, you can book pavilion rentals a year in advance, so sometimes people get in there and book the pavilion beforehand. This moment, she called and was like, yeah, they're using the pavilion. They have things set up all the way around the pavilion, and like they're in every space. She's like, there's like 200 people. And I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, can you go give her my number and have her call me? And she calls, and I was like, hey, just so you know, like, you have the pavilion, like the grass area, like that's part, like, we do our concerts, is that going to be a problem? Oh, no, it's no problem. We're playing music too. Is that going to be a problem? I was like, if it's in the pavilion, there's not much I can do about it. So the next week I went, all right, there's another pavilion rental that slipped in there. And Stu and I have been talking about moving them anyways to where the big electrical box is over in the big field. And I was like, yeah, let's try that this round. And it was kind of passed around, and we decided to do it. There's a communication error with me notifying Chris, our parks guy, that we were going to be doing that, and I just overthought it or didn't think about the sprinklers. And I got another phone call the next week that everything was going really good. There's a big crowd of people, and this is a really good spot. And then at about 7:55, the sprinklers came on. Thankfully, like all the people there helped get all the musical equipment out of the way and stuff. But that was an interesting phone call with the band the next day, because they also informed me that the pavilion that was rented, no one was at. So apparently whoever rented the pavilion that day didn't actually use the pavilion. So we could have been there the whole time. So then we did back at the pavilion again for a couple more weeks. And then for the last concert, I got someone who, I try to get a new musical act each year that's a little different, because usually it's the same 5-6 people that want to do it. So I try to find someone new that's a little different, that maybe costs a little bit more, and that's fine, or we'll pay for them somewhere to stay, and it's like they're okay with that. And this year we got a gentleman, his name is Lucas Treptow, I think that's right. He played out at Hot Lake too. He's played a couple other places. He's really good, and he has a legit website, and I listened to like 30 seconds of one of his songs, his own songs, and I went, this guy's good. And he came, and it was well attended, and we put it back in the big field, and this time I actually worked with Chris, and the sprinklers didn't come on, and it was the best concert, and it was the last concert. So we're working on, we want that to be the main spot for concerts in the park. We just think it's bigger, more open, better. So we're looking at potential like portable or removable type stages, or like fold up ones that we can just so that way we can put it up and take it down easily, so that way as far as mowing or irrigation goes, it's not just planted there and stuck there all summer. So we've been looking into that because we think that's a better spot for concerts in the park in general. But yeah, so that was interesting hiccup. And then lastly, just all the other events we do this year. Weirdly, we had a lot of just things not running. Moonlight tournament for a second year in a row didn't run, which was kind of expected. Some softball's just not working here, and that's just the way it goes. And then two that I was really surprised about because they were well attended was 3v3 basketball tournament. This would have been the second year, and I had one team sign up. Last year I had 8, so I'm not sure what happened there. And the other thing is, it's not like I heard from people after the fact, like, oh, we missed it. I heard from one friend that I know played in it last year that goes, oh, when is that? And I was like, I was supposed to be a month ago. And he went, oh, okay. Like, so I don't know what happened there. And then the Morgan Lake Regatta, the boat race, which the last few years has grown in popularity. This year, again, same thing. We only had one person sign up. So,
Clear winner.
yeah, yeah. So we'll see. I kind of almost wanna. I feel like the idea of the build your own boat race is really cool. I think because of the location of the lake and the schematics of getting something you've built up there and all those things makes it challenging for people to participate. So I almost would rather just go back to a concert at the lake and not call it a regatta, because a regatta is a boat race, but just call it a concert at the lake or something like that. And then as far as the 3v3 basketball tournament goes, I think a big part of that is it's in the middle of summer, it's hot. We've talked about like putting lights, because these courts get used a lot during the summertime in the evening, and people will be out here shining their car lights onto the court. So I think it'd be cooler to almost take the Moonlight softball tournament idea and find a way to get lights out here to do it for that and make it a Moonlight basketball tournament. I think that'd be more well attended. So, but just some ideas for events. But yeah, that's summer in a nutshell. Thanks.
Sean,
Thanks.
Mark,
Okay. So we started out the summer we brought back the junior lifeguard program. So we had a bunch of mostly kids from the swim team, which are the swim club. Yeah, it was great. They put in a lot of hard work. So I'm hoping when they turn 15, I'll have 7 new lifeguards. Because what's interesting is the junior lifeguard training is actually longer than actually becoming a lifeguard, which is so funny to me, but that's Red Cross for you. But yeah, great group of kids. They did really well. So that was pretty exciting to have that. We haven't had that in a while. We did Lifeguard Appreciation Day, which was July 31st. That was a new event, so we had shut the pool down, and lifeguards came in. We set up games, and they played and had a good time. We brought in pizza. It was just a ton of fun for everybody. Yeah, in fact, it was really funny. I had multiple people that didn't make it that were like calling me going, are we doing this again? Because everybody that was there had a ball. We didn't have, so we had obviously splash pads open during the summer, and that's always really popular, which was great. I had a lot of people that, same thing, wanting more. But we finished that with the Doggy Day, which is always really popular. And then again, we had people ask for more days for the dogs, so that was pretty funny. We did a Cosmic Night on the 5th, right before we closed for maintenance. It was way more popular than it was last year. We had a lot more people show up. We tried to gear that one for the middle school kids, so we make it later. So family night stops at 8:30, and then we went from 8:30 to 10 with the Cosmic Night. And interestingly enough, I mean, we had a lot of middle schoolers there, but most of the people that came for family night just paid again and came back in and did Cosmic Night, so it was kind of fun. Let's see. Next month, so in October, we're gonna do breast cancer.
Wait. You're just doing summer for now.
That was summer.
Oh,
Doggy Day is,
Oh, okay.
closes the splash pad.
Okay, cool. Save the other tidbit for the other part. Look, we're sticking to the agenda, buddy.
Okay.
Whoa, man, stormtrooper over there.
I know. Well, I don't want to spoil anything. We're gonna have something for the staff report, even though you guys read most of it. I wanted to save that part. And also, the one other thing about summer was the, swim lessons and swim lessons during the day, right?
Oh, yeah,
really,
yeah.
really busy
Yeah,
lessons
we had-
all throughout.
So we did swim lessons during the morning, which ended up being super popular. So we're gonna try and do it again in the fall and see how it fares. With kids back in school, we're not sure how that'll work, but even if we got a lot of the younger kids that haven't hit school age yet, it'd be nice. And we've got the one, I've got actually a couple instructors now that can work during the day, so we're gonna try that again.
And remind us, there's formalized programs with Elgin, Embler.
The third grade swim,
Yeah.
yeah, we do that. We've actually already started scheduling that.
Okay.
Central is really funny. They call early and get scheduled, so they're already got their date picked. So the rest of the schools generally want probably next month. If we haven't heard from them, we'll start reaching out.
And the reason I cut them off is simply to say once more time, summer was amazing. Summer was really busy. These guys were at Riverside half the time
They
while they
were.
were building that, and they were doing this on top.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to cap that summer.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, you're the reason
It was
that
good. It was
this is
fun.
an amazing department, and
The Riverside grand opening was a lot of fun. So
right on. I'm sorry I missed that. I really am.
The videos are hilarious, so you can find them.
Right on. So staff report. Do you
Just,
have
I
one?
think we should just do do you have any questions? And then Mark had that additional, was that on your staff report?
I don't think I had that on the staff report. I
So
put it on
maybe add
here.
that, and then if you guys have questions, probably.
I don't have any questions, but anybody else?
Nope.
Any issues?
Okay, so next month, October, we're doing breast cancer awareness. We're gonna promote that all month, and then I'm gonna have a day for cancer survivors to come in. And obviously, we do floating pumpkins at the end of October for Halloween, so those were the two big things for there. We posted up a sign. The fire department is doing a cancer awareness, and so they sent over a flyer, and so I posted that, and I've had, I don't know, I'm not even sure how many people I've had actually come and talk to me that they're super excited about that, so, but I thought that'd be fun, and then I went ahead and the lifeguards are most excited because I got some pink tubes for them, so they're all stoked about having the pink tubes.
And the only thing I want to add to mine was the splash pad committee is forming. If anybody wants to participate in that, I think we're gonna meet at the end of the month, and I'll blast that out. You guys will be included until you tell me you don't wanna be. So then, we'll establish a committee, we're gonna blast it to the entire town. If you wanna come work on a splash pad, brainstorm what that would look like, and then start being a part of the fundraising and all that jazz, just like we did the playground, so that'll launch at the end of the month.
Sweet. If there's nothing else, we can move on to commissioner comments. Does anybody have anything that they want to bring up? It's hot burning issues.
I don't know if it's a burning issue, but we lost our speed bump at Candy Cane Park.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Well,
And
we're trying to slow them down now. They're going faster.
And there's supposed to be some striping done in replacement of that, and I haven't heard an update on that. So I'll follow up with them.
nichts. All right. Commissioner hours, any to report?
Just bring your timesheets. I'll email them every time. So
Then, if there's nothing else,
do you want to double check with Kate? Just so she.
Kate, I don't hear anything from you. You've been.
I don't have
remarkably
anything
quiet.
else. I realize I do have a timesheet that I never submitted, so I'll try to remember to do that.
Thank you.